Hello, everyone. So, I'm not sure if any of you noticed, but I did not upload last week, and I am sorry for that. My sister came in from Chicago. I haven't seen her in a few years, and work was crazy, and there was a bunch of family stuff going on, and I could go on and on, honestly. But I'm sorry. So, to make up for it, I put myself through one of the most torturous activities I could possibly think of. Perler beads. Or melty beads, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. I use them interchangeably. So first and foremost, just a quick disclaimer, none of these ideas are original. I ripped them all from the internet. I will put the resources in the description in case anyone wants to check it out, and mostly just to avoid getting written up for copyright. But for my first design, I'm going with this very unamused, Minecraft-esque derpy Frankenstein, because, Frankenstein went so well for me last time. So in my intro, I mentioned that this was a torturous activity. So melty beads, perler beads, whatever you want to call them, they and I have a very love-hate relationship. When I first learned about them, I thought it was a very neat concept. I love pixel art. I thought it was really cool. So I tried it and realized I was terrible at it. But it was my first time, so, I thought maybe with practice I would get better. But I was wrong. I have been playing around with melty beads for 2 or 3 years now, and every creation I make, I kid you not, something goes wrong with it. Just for starters, you'll probably notice throughout the video that I drop these a lot. I was actually going to do a drop count, but I just couldn't keep up with it. I end up dropping these so often, and they will sometimes land on top of other beads, and then when I try to fix it, it'll ruin the other beads that they landed on. It's really just a nightmare. I actually forgot how time-consuming this activity is, and it wouldn't bother me if most of the time that was consumed wasn't due to fatal error. But again, I deserve every ounce of pain this brought me because I am a procrastinator and promised a video last week that I didn't deliver on, so I'll try to cut down on the complaining. That was a lie. We both know that I'm not going to do that. So, the Frankenstein was coming along pretty great. I was almost optimistic, and then I remembered what I was working with here, so I quickly demolished any sense of hope I had to avoid disappointment. And here we are, just about finished with my Frankenstein. Now, the thing with melty beads is they always look better on camera, because in person, it's really hard to tell what they're supposed to look like. Now I'm ironing it, and I knew something was going to go wrong here. I don't know if it's because I'm cheap and use ripped paper, or if I iron it too long, or not enough, or on the wrong setting, but this happened. And there's no fixing that, so I'm just going to pretend nothing happened and go on to the next design. So this design I was really excited for. I thought it was interesting and unique, which is why I stole it. And I just thought it would be a really cool thing to make. It's a blood-filled hourglass with a little skull at the bottom. And again, I was really excited to see how this came out. So, not counting time for error, this probably took the longest to make of the 3 designs that I made. I had to make sure that I got the amount of beads just right, or else the size wouldn't fit the skull, and then that ended up happening, so I had to rearrange everything and kind of start over, so that was a pain. But also not the least bit surprising. So off camera, I fixed the sizing errors that I said I made earlier, and then I began on the skull. And honestly, I overcomplicated it a lot, so the skull probably took me the longest. But yeah, the more it filled up with blood, the better it started to look. Wow, that doesn't make me sound psychopathic or anything. So I just began putting in the clear melty beads wherever they were needed. And honestly, I was way too fascinated with these. This was the first time I've ever used clear perler beads. So yeah, that was enjoyable, I suppose. I love how long I struggled to find a positive adjective to use. So once it was finished, it was time to get out the iron and see what it destroyed this time. This went way too well, so I should have expected this to happen.
My brother and my dad decided that they had to knock on our door.
Oh.
Okay.
On to the third design, because the first 2 weren't disastrous enough. I was making a cute little witch on her broomstick. Honestly, I was gonna do a fourth design, but at this point, I was so fed up with these perler beads, I just wanted it to be done and over with. And I braced myself for any upcoming disaster that may have happened, but I didn't have one. No, no. I had two. First, I didn't realize that my tripod was unstable, so my camera face planted into the witch. But unfortunately, it was not recording. Next, the 5-year-old I was babysitting decided to measure up my Frankenstein creation with this one and put it directly on top of it. So the hat was pretty much destroyed, so I had to redo that. At this point, I just wanted it to be done and over with, so I ironed it with a very blah attitude. Surprisingly, that made it work. Here they are all finished. There's the skull hourglass, the Frankenstein. Sorry, let me fix that. The Frankenstein. And the little witch, which would have been good, but one of the beads on the end of her broom came off. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure know I didn't. Again, I enjoy working with perler beads, but they just don't like me. And all of this took me like 2.5 days to do. It just got really exhausting. Anyway, I'm really, really sorry for the late upload. Not that many of you care, I'm sure. But yeah, I feel bad. I feel guilty. So I'm sorry. From here on, I think I'm going to make Friday my upload days. So that gives me more time to procrastinate and come up with ideas and record and edit, of course. But yeah, with all of that said, I will see you next week with another crafting video. And this was the last Halloween one, so help me come up with Thanksgiving ideas. See you next time. Bye!